So you might have heard about Kveik yeasts. They are quite literally farmhouse yeasts from Norway, and that they were used and passed on by farmers for centuries. And normally when we think farmhouse yeast, we think Belgian beer, and we think saison, and we think phenolics, peppery type beers. And that is not what Kveiks are. So despite literally being from the farmhouse, they are non-phenolic, estery, so really you can use them like you'd use an English ale strain. But one of their defining unique characteristics is their thermotolerance. So they are very, very tolerant to high temperatures. They ferment rapidly at these high temperatures, so it's not uncommon to ferment at 85 to 100 degrees. They seem to be happiest in like the 85 to 90 range, but they are tolerant of temperatures higher than that and will produce really, really good beers at these high temperatures. There are hundreds of these strains out there in the world. We've taken a more kind of curative approach with our collection and just have a handful of strains that we offer to brewers that we think each have kind of unique characteristics. But by and large, again, they can be used to replace English ale strains and maybe give you a slightly different ester profile, but they're going to fit nicely into those style categories. So Hornindal is one of the more popular Kveik strains we have, and it's really one of the most expressive. It gives you a lot of fruity aromatics. It's a blend of at least 9 different strains that we do our best to maintain in that original kind of ratio that it came to us with. And it's very high alcohol tolerant. So, I mean, we have brewers that use it to make very, very high alcohol stouts that they intend to do barrel aging with. Which again, I think gives you an idea of the flexibility of these strains and kind of how far they've come from their farmhouse origins. One of our favorite strains is Lutra, and this is actually available in 2 formats. So we have it in a liquid format, and we also have it in a dry format. The dry obviously gives you some advantages in that it's something you can just keep in your refrigerator, and it's ready to use whenever without having to worry about shelf life. So Lutra is actually a single strain isolate from our Hornindal blend. So it's one of those 9 strains that comes from Hornindal. And whereas the Hornindal blend as a whole is very fruity, Lutra is a lot more neutral, which opens up other other style possibilities. That includes when it's fermented at very high temperatures. Higher temperatures, it gives a slight bit of fruitiness, so it'd be more akin to like a Kolsch if you fermented in the 85 to 90 degree Fahrenheit range. But if you ferment around 68 to 70, it's very what we call pseudo lager-like. So it's very, very clean, allows you to make lager-like beers with minimal yeast character at a temperature that's achievable for most brewers without having to do a whole lot of intervention. So it's just a very, very flexible strain. You can use it to make pseudo lagers, to make very clean ales, to make hoppy beers. It's just a good strain to have around for when you need yeast on short notice. Another good use for Lutra, specifically dried Lutra, is to make seltzers, especially in combination with our proper seltzer, which is a nutrient that provides everything that the yeast would need when you're combining it with just sugar. As you can imagine, if you consumed just sugar for a week, you're not going to feel very good, and same thing, the yeast is not going to feel very good. So you need to combine it with a nutrient like proper seltzer. And in so doing, it makes, you can, especially at warmer temperatures, can turn around a seltzer in 4 or 5 days. Another strain we have, the first one that was released commercially anywhere was the strain that we called Hothead. With later strains, we've kind of kept the nomenclature that it came with, which is where it came from. But with Hothead, again, this was released a long time ago where nobody knew what Kveik was. So we gave it kind of a silly name that evoked what it could do. I mean, just fermentation at very warm temperatures. But it's a mildly fruity strain, again, flexible. It seems to kind of maintain this mild fruitiness no matter what temperature you use. Works really good as an English ale replacement. Another Kveik strain that we have is called Voss Kveik, and that gives you kind of more orange, citrusy type notes. Works really, really good in American style IPAs. To give you kind of a unique ester profile. Another Kveik we have is called Espe. That's E-S-P-E, but pronounced Espe. And this gives kind of a fruit cup aroma that is what we describe it as. Again, makes very good IPAs. Kveik yeasts have come a long ways from their farmhouse origins, and have, as they've been introduced to brewers, home brewers, and professional brewers, they've really opened up possibilities to make beers that require very minimum fuss. You just don't need to really control temperature or worry about those sorts of things, which throws some of those old rules that you were learned when you came into brewing on their head, and it just kind of makes things a little bit easier. You just throw it in there, have a wide temperature range available to you, and it makes brewing easier and opens up a lot of possibilities.